Hi, and welcome to We All Have a Story. This is my cancer video blog number 1. Kind of weird because the camera's way up here. I want to look down here, but the camera's way up here. These logs probably will not be very, high-tech. I think I'm just going to talk and don't really care to do a whole lot of editing. I just want to get these chronicles out. So on my channel last week I did a live video prior to my colonoscopy, and then one right after my colonoscopy, and I did a couple of shorts, but I haven't actually done a full length video. And I think I'm going to try to do these. It's more just therapeutic for me. It'll be nice to be able to talk about it. And then when somebody says, ask me a bunch of questions, I'll be like, I'll just watch my videos. So far, it's already become useful because I've had a lot of people ask me, what have your symptoms been, and blah, blah, blah. And there's been so many that I find it a little bit exhausting to talk about it. Which I do want people to know, because it's important that people know what the symptoms are, and at least what my symptoms are. Everybody's different. The symptoms aren't always the same for everybody. Some people don't even have symptoms, except for, heard one lady say that the only symptoms that she had was extreme fatigue. And I guess I should turn my phone off so y'all don't hear it going off, or at least quiet it. But anyway, all she had was extreme fatigue. She didn't have any other symptoms. And something else happened, and I think she ended up in the emergency room, and that's when she found out she had stage 4 colon cancer. So the symptoms are different for everyone. And mine, like I said, go check out one of my very first live video, and it'll tell you all the symptoms that I had. And the second live video, both of those were kind of symptom videos. So I have my first CAT scan scheduled for Thursday. I opted to do it without sedation, so I'm nervous because I am claustrophobic. I'm going to close my eyes and pray and hope that I don't freak out, because I didn't really want to have somebody go with me. I wanted to be able to drive myself there and drive myself home. So I opted to do it without sedation. So I could really use some prayers for that. And then my consultation with the surgeon is, sorry, getting a little bit of a wave of weakness or nausea. I can't really explain what I'm feeling right now. Not feeling so great just at the moment. But, so I have my consultation with the surgeon next Thursday. Do not know how long it'll take me to get the surgery once I finish my consultation. So I don't know what stage I'm in. I don't know how serious things are. I do know that my tumor was 4 centimeters by something like 19 millimeters, or something like that. So everybody has been asking me, or saying to me, oh, you must be terrified, you must be so scared. I'd be so scared if it was me. And I don't know why, but for some strange reason, fear is not what I'm feeling. Which is strange, because I feel like I should be afraid. It's cancer. It's going to alter my life drastically from this point forward. But for some strange reason, fear is not what I'm feeling. I feel sadness from time to time, usually when I'm alone and thinking about like my kids or my grandkids. But I don't feel fear. And the only thing I can think of, my only explanation for that, because why shouldn't I be fearful, is there must be some supernatural thing from God. When you know the Lord, it says that you will have the peace that surpasses all understanding. Sorry, I had to stop for a moment and go take care of matters. Matters that anyone who has colon cancer probably can guess what matters I'm speaking of, but we'll just leave it at that. So anyway, we were talking about the peace that surpasses all understanding. So can I say I've had peace throughout this whole thing? I don't know that I've had, I don't know, it's weird because to some degree I do feel like there's been a level of peacefulness that I didn't expect. But there's also been turmoil in my mind. I can say that to some degree I ask God, I'm like, this is just so unfair. It seems like when I'm beginning to come over on the other side of a hurdle in my life, a new hurdle that's bigger than the last one gets put in place. And I just feel like to some degree I'm just so tired of climbing over hurdles. Can I just have easy sailing? At what point in my life, which doesn't seem like maybe ever, am I going to have easy sailing? I mean, you look around you and there are people that just seem to have a charmed life. And then there are people like me who has to deal with abusive marriages, and then a divorce, and then starting over with a new career, trying to figure out how to make ends meet every month, worrying. Right now I'm kind of on my last month's worth of money, but thankfully I'm getting my roof done, and I have a check from the insurance company, and the roofer that I've chosen is not going to charge me the full amount that the insurance company paid me, so at least there's some money there. And just when I'm starting a little bit to build momentum with my real estate career, this happens, and now I'm thinking, do I even stay here? Do I move back to Missouri where my dad is? And my son and his wife have already started thinking about possibly moving to Missouri so that we could all be together. So what do? I don't know. My dad did give me sound advice the other day, and he said just one thing at a time. Don't worry about the whole big picture yet. Let's just worry about one step at a time. I'm thankful that I have my dad. I really am. He's probably going to be my biggest help in a lot of this. And I will say one thing that a thought that went through my head early on, it's still early on, but early on, is how unfair it is that this had to happen after I divorced my husband. Because if I would have stayed with him, I would have had a much better health care than I have now. And at first I felt that was so unfair. Hold on, I need to plug in my computer. But then I had another thought. I've had so many people come into my life because of the divorce, that I didn't have prior, and that I wouldn't have now if I'd stayed married to him. If I had stayed married to him, I'd have better health care, but all I would have for support, other than my dad, which I think is going to be a very good level of support, would be my ex-husband, who was emotionally, verbally, mentally abusive. I will say that he was always good at taking care of me when I was sick. He was not one of those abusers that treated me like garbage when I was sick. But with a prolonged sickness, I do feel that there would have been so much stress, because there would have been fights, and there would have been, as the stress levels got higher, he probably would have become more abusive during my illness. So it wouldn't have been a very good situation emotionally. I don't know that I could have leaned on him very heavily emotionally. But now I have all these people in my life that are wonderful people, that I wouldn't have had in my life. My church family is so much better than the church family I had when I was married to my husband. These people that I have now are genuine, kind, caring people, where the other church was more like, oh, they'll be kind and caring, but they'll remind you that you're a sinner and maybe you're not living for God the way you should. So I'm very thankful. God's timing is perfect, and I see it. And I know there are a lot of people that would go through something like this and say, where is God in all of this? But I see God in all of this. And one last thing I'll say before I go from my first chronicle, is prior to this time in my life, like literally like a month before there was ever even a thought in my mind that I could have cancer, I will say that due to a lot of the things in my life that I've lived with in the last 5 years, 10 years, I'm sorry, it seems like my lighting's not very good. Probably shouldn't have the window behind me, but I like having the window behind me. I like this spot in my house. Prior to this, I'd spent many years, actually, this is confession time, this is an ugly, horrible confession, wishing that I would get cancer and die. I remember saying a number of years ago that if I were to get cancer, I don't think I would take chemo. You know, I'd just rather just die. My son actually reminded me of that recently. But I also, even through all that, even though I had this death wish for the last 5-10 years of my life, just wishing I could just be done with this life, I always thanked God for not giving me what I had wanted. Because I knew that if I was faced with this, that I would change my mind. I knew it. And so I always said, God, thank you for not giving me what I've asked for. But here I am. Here I am. And I now have cancer. And I am going to get treatment. I have a 4-year-old daughter. I have an 18-year-old son and a 23-year-old son. And I have a 2-year-old grandson and a almost 4-month-old grandson. And I want to see my grandbabies grow up. I want to see my second child get married and have kids. And I have to live to see my daughter grown. Truly, the thought of her being raised by my ex-husband is actually more stressful to me than having cancer. It's way more stressful, the thought of that, than having cancer. That man has no business raising kids. I mean, I don't think he would be abusive to them, because his abuse was always just relegated to me. But he's just not a dad person. He doesn't do dad things. He's not someone. He's just a caregiver at best. But, you know, there's no parenting, no ability to parent in him. So I've got to live for my daughter. I've got to live at least 14 more years. So if y'all could pray for that for me. I mean, of course, I'd like to live 30 more years or more. But at least 14. So that's where I am today. And I could always use prayers. And I have already been praying for all the people that I've come in contact with who have this. And, or, you know, either this form of cancer or some form of cancer, a loved one of somebody with cancer. It's given me a lot of opportunities to pray, which means it's given me a lot of opportunities to be in touch with God. So I can see the beauty in all of this. I can. Seems crazy, but I can. I'm thankful. I have learned through the possibility of losing my life for the first time in maybe 5-10 years. I've learned the value of my life. Even if I have a husband who didn't love me, even if I have a husband who treated me like garbage, there's still value. My life is still valuable, and it's still worth something. So I'm going to fight for it. And that's it for today. So I don't know. I haven't been able to keep an eye on me. I don't know how stupid I look throughout all of this, but this is the end of my first cancer vlog. I don't know how it should be pronounced. And I will be back when the mood arises for me to do another one. So until then, catch you later.